Hey, good morning. Let's go over today's trade plan. So in the overnight session, the sell side has been more active at the 48.75 to 50.75 initial resistance zone. And at this point, heading into the open, even though our intermediate and bigger picture bias continues to be bullish, given how much the market has moved over the last week or so, the upside potential beyond 48.75 to 50.75 is questionable and could be fairly limited. And for that reason, we are going to be careful and conservative on even the long side, especially at these higher prices, because the reward to risk may not be there. So in order for us to consider entering long at these fairly high prices, we need to see some very clear signals of broad market strength and continued and sustained upside momentum. And then simply a lack of upside momentum and a lack of upward strength can attract sellers at these higher prices at 48.75 to 50.75, and we could quite easily pull back towards 41.25 to 43.25, which marks yesterday's intraday breakout area. It's a spot where technically buyers can be active, but it's still an aggressive area of support, and we will need to assess the situation in real time and determine whether there is sufficient reward to risk to justify going long at 41.25 to 43.25, because if we're noticing a lot of intraday weakness and sustained downside momentum, then the market could quite easily pull back to 35.25 to 37.25 initial support. It can tag that open gap at 36.25 and the naked VPOC at 35.25. Now, if the market's exhausted into the 35.25, 37.25, that is a spot where responsive buyers can be active on first test. Below that, we have a high volume node at 31.75 and support at 29 to 31, and again, that is a good area for responsive buyers to be active, and at that point even the range potential for the day would be fairly exhausted. So today we need to pay very close attention to how the market is developing in real time, and if we're seeing some clear signs of broad market weakness and downside momentum, then the upside could be limited to 48.75 to 50.75. And if that's the case, then of course it'll make sense to be quite careful and conservative even on the long side, especially at the more aggressive area of support like the 41.25 to 43.25. So buyers can still step in there, but if we're seeing a lot of intraday weakness and downward momentum, then the reward potential could be fairly limited, and eventually we could even head lower into 35.25 or 37.25. So those are things that will need to be assessed in real time. But given how much the market has moved over the last several days and where the market's trading, at this point, it makes sense to exercise some caution even on the long side. And if we're seeing some clear signs of weakness, then we'd be open to even taking short setups at relatively good trade location. Now, because the intermediate and bigger picture is bullish, if a short setup develops in real time, it'll still require relatively good trade location, and it will need to be timed properly to really allow it to work. But again, those are things that we will need to assess in real time. So those are the main ideas heading into the open. The sell side has been pretty active here in the overnight session. Let's see if that theme continues and if the sellers can hold ES below 48.75 to 50.75, and we'll take it from there.